Talking about how a narcissist steals your voice. But not only that, we're going to talk about how to get it back. So first of all, the way that a narcissist or anybody who's been emotionally abusive to you might have stole your voice is by implementing devaluation. How do they do that? Maybe you have a big dream and you share it with a narcissist and they say, "You can't do that. What makes you so special?" So you immediately start doubting yourself. Well, I have nothing special to offer. I make chocolate cake. There's a million chocolate cakes, but guess what? Nobody has your chocolate cake. Bakeries are opening up every single day all over the world, and many of them make chocolate cake, okay? But not your recipe. So your voice matters. Even if it's been done before, it has never been done through you. Why in the world would we watch the same play, like Shakespeare or something? We've seen it, been there, done that, right? We see it through new people. We want to see your version, okay? So don't edit yourself out of the picture and let Ursula, Narcissist, steal your voice. Another way that they might do this is by gaslighting you. You begin to doubt yourself because maybe you say, "I want to be a professional singer." And they say, "You can't do that. You're not even a good singer. And there's so many other singers. What makes you so special?" And so then you don't sing. And then one day you confront them and say, "I stopped singing because you hated my singing. You said nothing was special about it." And they'll say, "I never said that. I've always supported you in your singing. You're so in your head. You're just so negative. That's what I said, is that you're so negative." Gets you completely disoriented and not trusting yourself. You could come home from a big workshop and be so empowered and say, "It's possible, I can do this, I can do that." And then a narcissist, emotionally abusive person will say, "That's hogwash. That's not true. That's a scam." Or the opposite can happen, right? You're a singer and the narcissist is super supportive of you. Maybe they're your manager and your spouse at the same time. So they have convinced you that they've given you your career. You would be nothing without them. So maybe you leave them and now you feel like you quite literally have no voice without their support. And this is why Stockholm syndrome can happen, right? Where you want to go back to the abuser because you think the only way to access your voice is through the abuser because they have convinced you that you don't matter. Maybe you've convinced yourself that you can't speak on this until you're through it. Another way that you can lose your voice is you can actually physically lose your voice. You can get laryngitis. If you are so stuck in people pleasing, your voice might actually completely go. Because as you know, with a narcissist, if you ever set up a boundary, they will discard you. They will punish you. They will defame you for having any kind of boundary. Because you think, "Oh my gosh, if I stick up for my own boundaries, I get punished, I get hurt." So you can stop sharing where your heart is. You can stop sharing your truth. You can also lose your voice because if you have a narcissistic parent, ex-spouse, any number of those type of things where you've gone low contact, but you can't go no contact, so therefore you have to gray rock, which means you have to turn into a gray rock and be completely emotionless and basically dehumanize yourself in their company. If you do that over and over and over again, you quite literally lose your voice because you're not speaking your truth. You're not going to share your inspirations and dreams with these people, so you become mute. So what do you do if you've lost your voice? I have a few solutions for you. The first solution, You can get into therapy, get into a group class, get into a coaching situation. You can watch YouTube videos like this and comment below. That is a way to share your voice and to uplift the community and connect with other people who've gone through something like you. That is one way to begin to share your voice. Every time I shoot these videos, there's an emergency. Your life is an emergency. Your voice matters. Do you know that oftentimes when somebody has heard a domestic violence situation, say in an apartment building, that most people document that they heard it, but they didn't call because they thought their voice didn't matter. To help people in any capacity, you also must help yourself. That has been the missing link for me for years because I was helping from an empty cup. That's trauma response. Now I realize I help myself as well. I want to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. What's your measure of perfect? Anyway, we can hardly relate with perfect, whatever that is. Think of any movie or book that has been deeply impactful to you. Some triumphant story. What made it so inspiring was often the challenge that was overcome, right? We don't get inspired by stories that go, they were born, nothing happened, there was zero conflict or challenge, and then they became super successful, the end. This can be really hard sometimes if you've suffered from a lot of emotional abuse and you've learned that your feelings don't matter, your feelings are exaggerated, you're so dramatic, you're too sensitive, oh, you should just don't worry about it. And so you've learned that your feelings don't matter, they're incorrect, you've got it wrong, and so you've just decided to be quiet. How do you know if you've lost your voice? If you say things like, my voice doesn't matter. If you say things like when somebody invites you to do something or asks your opinion and your answer is, sure. Sure is very wishy-washy. Start going to yes, no. Be assertive and decisive. That's empowering. But sometimes you don't even know what your opinion is because you've been people-pleasing for so long and saying sure, 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 that nothing is assertive. Another way that you can get in touch with your voice is to journal. So often we can say, oh, I don't need a journal. I already know all the ideas. Why do I need to do that? But something happens from hand to heart to paper. Wayne Dyer said he wrote all his books by hand and then he gave it to somebody who typed it up because he felt he liked that connection. There's something that we can learn from ourselves when we write down our feelings. So to really voice your feelings on paper, to get it out first, because if you're not used to sharing it, it's gonna be tough to just do it. And the journaling activity can help it get out of your heart and into the physical. Another powerful tool is meditation, and to start getting into your own frame, because when you lose your voice, you're in somebody else's frame. How do they feel? What do they think? You start seeking their approval. And when you do that, you become a shell. You're gone. You feel inauthentic because you're not even there anymore. You're in their frame trying to figure out what they are going to approve of. So to do a meditation on self-approval, to do a meditation on coming back into your own frame, to just feel the sensations within your own body, to connect with your breath, leads me to breathwork. Breathwork is so powerful. I'm in an amazing group right now called Conscious Business Accelerator for people up-leveling their business in a conscious manner. And they did a breathwork ceremony that I have wanted to do for years, but maybe out of my people pleasing, and I was distracted doing all these other things that I didn't do it. Well, I finally did a breathwork ceremony, and it was so powerful. It brought up all of this stuff that was hidden underneath my voice. So I encourage you to get into a breathwork ceremony. Find your voice. It's going to come out of it. Some people are growling and crawling around on the floor, crying and laughing, but you get in touch with your voice. And then days after, I started getting all this medicine from it, of downloads of what I needed. See, in losing my voice to narcissistic abuse, I thought to support people and be a leader, I could never be in a breakdown myself. I could only share my breakthroughs, that my breakthroughs were only going to be empowering, but not my breakdowns. And what I realized through this breath work is that in supporting other people, in promoting other people, I need to also support and promote myself. Otherwise, my authentic voice isn't there. If you want somebody to be nice to you, if you want somebody to choose you, if you want somebody to see you or hear your voice, hear your own voice, support yourself, validate yourself. For realsy. Louise Hay, if you don't know her, she has Hay House Publishing House and has several books on healing and personal development. She has a book called You Can Heal Your Life. And in there, you can look up any symptom, including laryngitis, and see what the affirmation is, the treatment is, so that you can start addressing those limiting beliefs. Because often you lose your voice because you're not speaking your truth, right? Or maybe because you were in reactive abuse. And so you were reacting, and you're going to lose your voice because you're in fight or flight. Take inspired, imperfect action a lot, often, and then some. If you have any kind of phrase, mantra that is disempowering, which many of us do, like, I can't do that, or I have to do this, it needs to be perfect, I'm waiting for the right time, I hope it works out, all those disempowering ways of speaking, to reverse it, to flip the script and say, I am right on time. I am being divinely guided right now. I have an authentic voice right now, imperfections and all. Right now, in my breakdown, I am empowered. In my breakdown, I can empower. I can be all of me wherever I go. That is how you can find your voice. And if you want to go deeper, get into an artistic expression somehow. You can express and play with what it is to be human. Get into a coaching program, take a painting class, follow your heart. Your voice matters. Somebody needs to hear your voice.